Hi there, I'm Commander V, and I just wanted to chat with you a little bit today about the state of Star Citizen in 3.12 in the PU right before the PTU gets introduced for 3.13. First of all, I just want to say that I just adore this game. It's fantastic. It's a technological wonder wrapped in a myriad of technical difficulties. I think is probably the best way to state it. The PU is a sandbox that's just so much fun. It's really going to be kind of infinitely playable because you never really know what's going to happen when you log on. There really aren't rails, so to speak, in the game. Um, that being said, there are some repetitive content, absolutely. The one thing I think that they really need to think about kind of moving forward, and they being SIG, is being careful as they introduce the economic pieces. And let me kind of preface that, I guess, maybe with a for instance. Um, they've poured an enormous amount of time and energy into mining, which is really, I think, a brilliant idea. I think mining really is the building, collecting all the different resources that may, say, build all the things around you. Say the aluminum in the prospector engine side there, or whatever else they use to create anything, you're going to mine that material. I mean, just take a look at the prospector there. It's absolutely, a marvel. But it's going to take the resources to build it. And so fleshing out mining early in a sandbox game, to me, is really, 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 really smart. I think it opens up an enormous amount of gameplay possibilities. That being said, they also introduced bounty hunting, which is really tremendously cool. I mean, as far as I guess bounty hunting's always been there, but it became much more profitable with the super. I wouldn't even say the 1.0, maybe the 0.15 tier version of Reputation. And of course, they want to bait the hook and have that be lucrative. I completely agree. But, even myself, who's a hardcore miner, has to just basically be honest and say, I really can't deny the fact that you make way more money bounty hunting. You can log on and make easily a couple 100,000 an hour, and that's not even working that hard at bounty hunting. Prospector, your best gig, a half hour out, is going to be maybe 100,000, but that's if you're lucky. I mean, mining is a little like going fishing. You're going to sometimes um, find the fish, and sometimes you're not. So even and towards the end of 3.12, I found more recently the resources seem to be a touch more scarce, and I know this because and this may be just random, and maybe I just got lucky early on, or however it worked out. It doesn't matter. Mining has become so much less profitable that if I really do want to make money, then I have to do the thing that I don't really want to do too much, but it just makes the most sense. I mean, and I don't mind bounty hunting. It's fine. And I actually have actually recently, by watching some of the most amazing content creators, I mean, that's the one thing Star Citizen does have, is just some amazing content creators. And so, like, I was watching this pilot called The Dark Law, and just because I watched his incredible piloting skills, I went out and got myself a couple of NXT gladiators and have really been practicing kind of low flying on planets, and getting a HOSAS set up and working on my piloting skills in a different kind of way. So that's the one cool thing about the sandbox is, you know, there's always something more to do. You don't always have to just log in and make money. That's not what it's about. That being said, if the best money per hour by a long shot is bounty hunting. And what happens is when new players come on, it's gotten to the point now where most players are like, don't even waste your time mining. It's a waste of time. And I get what they're saying in a way. And so that's why I was just kind of pivoting back to the economic thing. What I really think needs to happen is they need to tie the specific things you mine to the different things you purchase in game. And potentially, here's what I mean by that. Maybe if you want to buy a Drake ship, eventually where there's a Drake shipyard, you can bring in 400 units, 400 SCU of aluminum, and that will maybe give you a discount. That type of thing. You can use the resources in a different way than just turning them purely for cash. But I'm sure all that stuff's in the works. It's just one of those things. I really have seen mining kind of suffer. What's weird is on one hand of the scale, they've dumped an enormous amount of time and energy into mining, and even more is coming. They have in 3.13 they have the permanent mining attachments to the laser heads, and so they continue to flesh out the mining gameplay. But what's happening is other things are so much more profitable that they're not really going to have that much feedback on mining. There will be some, of course, people will do it. One of the things about the content creators, a lot of them, especially even the mining content creators, a lot of them just run out and just show themselves breaking up a rock, not actually locating a good resource node and doing the actual thing you need to do to get as much excellent quality material inside your prospector over there, and not nearly as much garbage. I mean, there's a lot of kind of face value content when it comes to mining. There's not as much, here's really the magic of how you really can kind of maximize your profit. But maximizing your profit takes time. And those hours begin to stack up. And when you could have made 1 million AUEC in the same time you made 200,000, then it comes down to love and passion. And here's the thing, I still go mining a lot. Like, I still mine way more than I probably should if my goal was to purely just earn UAEC in the game. Fortunately, it's not. And that's one of the other cool things. I mean, I've gotten into some FPS combat, and I picked up a Cuddy Red, and I'm doing some other things like that as well. You do not have to stay on a rail in this game. But I just wanted to chat about kind of the state of the game. I think it's in a good place. I'm really looking forward to the future. It's not so much to me about individual ships. It's and even server like server meshing, or having it where you can have hundreds of people on the server. I mean, eventually that will be okay when there's more wiggle room. I actually think that when you have an area it is enormous, the Stanton system, but it also could get very ugly if there was, say, hundreds of people on one server pretty quickly. There's always someone who wants to pad ram. There's always someone who wants to grief. And it is what it is. I don't, if you can't, there's obviously been that recent PvP snafu, and I don't PvP at all. I actually have recently just started tracking down human bounties a little bit, and they always just run away. So I haven't been able to, I have bring a harbinger, and it's not the fastest thing. And I suppose if I run into any pilot worth his salt, he's going to eat me alive anyways. But you know, yeah, just kind of on the PvP thing. I don't really care. If it's as hardcore as possible, I don't really care. But the one thing I don't want to see is, I can't even get off Everest Harbor. Every single time I spawn, like one time I spawned like 4 different ships and they just got blown up every time. And it's just like, well, I can't leave here because there's some guy who, when I spawn a ship, flies over to the spawn ship and blows it up before I can even get in and have a chance. So, that type of thing is questionable. It's on the line. I mean, it's annoying. It's, I just logged off. I mean, after you try and get, call 3 or 4 ships and some guy, every time you go up there, it's blown up. You just kind of be like, well, I guess I'm not playing today. And maybe that's what their goal was, but it's not a good one, really. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it sounded to me like it was a tiny amount of people that got told to knock it off, comparatively speaking. And so, the one thing this community is very good about is hyperbole. It really gets over the skis with, Sig makes a slight course correction, and the community loses their mind. It's that much is for sure. So, anyways, yeah, I just wanted to talk about the state of the game. I started in November. I did hand mining. I did some box missions and kind of learned how to fly my ship. I did some hand mining. I learned the entire hand mining loop. I would, go back, fly to Daymar, cave, grab Head Knight, bring it back to Alisar until I earned a couple 100,000 to buy the ROC. I had the Cuddy Black. So then I ROC mined until I earned my first Prospector. And then I Prospector mined, and I've earned a 135C, a Freelancer Max, an Argo Mole, it seems like there's another ship or 2 in there, just using that guy right over there. That guy right over there has been my go-to. So, yeah, I think it's important to note that there is progression in this game. If you seek it out, it's here. The mining loop has been the most progressive, obviously, but anyways, I just wanted to just talk about where the game is at from just one lonely miner's perspective. I've picked up a few friends along the way here, but for the most part, I've been a solo dude. And I think this game is fantastic. It's got a long, 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 long way to go. Other than that, we'll just kind of keep our foot on the gas. Hopefully, they won't blow up some of the gameplay loops that they're trying to flesh out as they introduce new ones. But it's all divided up into quarters anyways. Every quarter there's an opportunity for things to change, for us to give feedback and for us to, really kind of have our voice heard. So, SIG's listening. I mean, I can tell you that. Whether or not they actually do a great job with that, I'm looking at you, ROCDS. It's questionable. I think that they're, doing just absolutely stellar work, and I appreciate all the weekly updates. There's never been a game really that's been so open with their development that I'm aware of, in that regard. So, Anyways, this is a big shout out, a shill from a person who's just a lonely Star Citizen miner. I wish you all the best. I'll see you guys around the verse, and bless you all.